All right, this is a prime brisket that was quite severely trimmed by the butcher. In fact, I think it's only half a brisket. There's just a little piece of flat there and some point. But the principle I'm going to talk about applies even to a bigger full brisket, and that is how you slice the thing. And I don't slice it like other people do, where they slice the point and the flat together. I separate the point from the flat and remove all the fat from between the two muscles, and then I slice each muscle individually completely across the grain. I think it gives a much nicer aesthetic presentation to the slices than one of those slices that you often see that has a piece of point, a piece of flat, and that big wad of fat in between those two pieces. All right, so I've separated the two muscles. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to remove all the fat that was between the two muscles. That fat never saw smoke, it never saw rub, and it's not fat that you really want to eat. Okay, so now I've removed the fat that was there, and that's bare meat there and there. So all the intermuscular fat has been removed. The only fat that's left on these pieces of muscle are on the underside there. That was the top and that was the bottom under there that were exposed to the fire. Now I'm going to slice both muscles exactly across the grain. All right, so there's point. That's the tip of the flat, and then each succeeding slice. And I'm going to cut all the flat and all the point, put it on a platter. All these slices are going to be stacked up next to each other. You can see I don't have any of those big slices that have point and flat together with that giant wad of intramuscular fat in between. I've taken all this intramuscular fat off. And these are the slices I wind up with of point and of flat. And that looks to me a whole lot nicer to present than that other kind of slice. And you see people slicing the point and the flat together all the time. And it's fine, and that's what people do, and maybe it's the way it's been done. I don't know if it's because it's faster, easier, cheaper, but I don't like it, and I don't do it that way. I think these look far more presentable. This is the outside that caught fire and smoke and rub. This is the inside that didn't, with the fat removed. Same thing over here. This is the outside that caught smoke and rub and fire. This is the inside that didn't. Actually, that did a little bit because it was kind of exposed. But in any case, I think it looks a lot better. It's a nicer presentation. I've cut exactly across the grain. When you've got these two pieces flipped up together and you're cutting, you can't cut them both directly across the grain. But here, if you take the muscles apart, you can cut that exactly across the grain. You can cut this exactly across the grain. You get nice looking slices. So, y'all do what you want, but this is how I do it, and I think it looks better and I like it this way. Now, compare that presentation to those giant slices with the huge wad of fat in between the two muscles. I think that looks a lot better at the table. And the guests don't have to dissect out the two pieces of muscle from that center strip of fat. Also, partway through the cook, I put this brisket in a roasting pan and covered it with foil. And I've got all that to play with. And I can actually dribble that on top of the flat once I get it all on the platter. But this looks good to me.